Good afternoon, my native stewards. I hope you're all doing great. Hey, I wanted to do a video today. Obviously, the nursery is open here in Stockbridge, Georgia. We are in Zone 8A. Stockbridge, Georgia is about 30 minutes south of Atlanta. And I opened the nursery not so long ago, back in April. And it's been really cool to see some of our neighbors and friends come through. And I wanted to just thank everybody for being so supportive. But I also wanted to, in this video that I wanted to share with you all, is an opportunity to assess your gardens. Let's see if I can step back here. It's a little hot. It is very hot today. Much better. So I wanted to do a video to show you that this would be a great time to assess your garden, see what has been successful, what has not been successful in your gardens, the plant-wise, what was great in the springtime, because now would be a great time, like if you have bulbs, hopefully you took pictures of that. I've done that in videos so I can see where the bulbs were and where I need to fill in, because sometimes you want to fill in, like, oh, that bulb, those bulbs, those daffodils or those hyacinths, they did so beautiful in this area. They did really, really great. I need to fill in some areas that didn't grow in, or I didn't put enough bulbs. Now, so this is a great time to assess those types of things, because now the peak of the summer is pretty much, now you're starting to go down. And seeing some of the plants starting to die off. That was for the summertime. Now we're going to start seeing things emerge for the fall. And this is a great time. So I want to do a quick video showing you some of the things that I would reassess. So let's come on through. So this is the entrance to the nursery from the driveway. People come through. We've got some beautiful blue fork curl flowers. So those are doing really great. They're about to open. They're not ready yet. They're about to open. We've had some coreopsis. We've got some beautiful Rose of Sharon's and dancing butterfly bush or Gara, peppermint. We got some asters. We've got some beautiful begonias, black eye Susans, beautiful begonia. This was gifted to me by my neighbor. Look at this beautiful, this plant has been with us since we purchased our home here. That was 20 years ago. This is a autumn sage, and it's part of the salvia or the sage family. So it's been here for years. It was all the way back there years ago next to the lantana. So I pulled it back from there because it was being swallowed at that time. So I put it over here, but that's been here, what, I would say maybe 18 years. Sometimes you have to reassess your garden and see what works well. And that's what I'm doing today. And I'm going to bring you along with me. We've got a lot of coreopsis and black eye Susans, beautiful blueberry bush here. One thing I'm going to tell you, this is a beautiful jazzberry super petunia, wave petunia. This is called Lunch. You're gonna laugh at this. This is called a hummingbird lunch, and it is a Kufia plant, and the hummingbirds come in and they drink the nectar from there. Sometimes the bees get to it before they do, so they kind of I think they don't find it very nourishing at all because the bees already swallowed it. But this is from my friend Jenny at Creekside in North Carolina. And this is one of her Creekside champions. And I was so happy I purchased that. I got a couple of them throughout the garden. Okay, so let's go through here. So these are asters right now that are soon to pop. These are the guys that you'll see in the fall. So we got a lot of stuff. The black eye Susans will stay all the way almost to the end of the fall. We've got some mum bushes. Mexican petunias are starting to make their way through. So this area here, this is called the Grand Canyon Garden. And in the early spring, we've got the lavender. We've had different types of small daisies, and the This is really weird because I didn't think that this will do well, but I think it's because it's got some shade. But this is called dianthus, and there are different types. Now, this is a ground cover. Beautiful, beautiful ground cover. As I'm talking to you, I'm pulling some weeds, so I might have to do that here. But we also have some creeping phlox, and we've got some, I can't remember what these are called, but it almost looks like those 3-leaf clovers, but it's a clover for sure. And those are pretty cool in the spring. They have yellow flowers, which is interesting to see them through the summer here. But hey, sometimes plants do their own thing and they're happy. So this is a nursery right now. I had to, all these are compacted over here. They were all in display over here, but it's been so hot that they have been just overly stressed. So I've just put them over here with this canopy that's underneath this pergola, which I'm going to be reworking the pergola. Now it's going to be expanding all the way up to this end. So that's going to be the project for over the summer. I'm going to be closing the nursery in a couple of weeks, so that way I can do some of these things. So that way I can be prepared for the fall, because I will be opening up in the fall for some fall plants. We got some pretty cool, interesting stuff for that. All right, so we got some zinnias, and we got some brown-eyed Susans. We've got some spotted horsemint, which is a brilliant plant. Beautiful attractor for the bees in the fall and in the summer, late summer, fall. Got coreopsis. So here's my thing, right? And this is where I'm talking about assessing what you've got in your garden, what has been successful and what has not been successful. Now, the coreopsis were beautiful. I mean, look at this. And the birds are eating it. You got the yellow American finch working through and eating. We got all these pretty plants working their way through. But these guys were top heavy, very top heavy. So when we had several rainstorms over the past few weeks, which was great because we were not having any rain, they would flop to the ground. Like this piece right here has been flopped. Anyway, looks very messy. You know, I don't mind certain messy things because it's natural, it's okay. But I think what I'll have to do is reassess that, maybe not put so many of them, and put them in the area where there is something in front of them that will make them, when they flop perfectly onto, I don't know if that makes sense, but just having it supported by other plants. Like these right here, these are beautiful zinnias. Not zinnias. These are vincas. And we also have some salvias inside, in between, and we also have some penstemons. Now the penstemons, you can barely see them. These are foxglove penstemon digitalis, and these are the salvias. So they played their part already. But it's interesting, I'm seeing the salvias are still blooming, which I thought they would be done. Those particular salvias, because they're early spring all the way to, well, till now it looks like they're still doing their thing. But anyway, I'm just so happy with this row here. And this whole space, this whole walkway I built this by hand in December, during the winter time. I'm not gonna say it was just all December. It was during the winter time, and I kept reworking this, and I did it. I expanded on this pathway. I've expanded on from this reflecting garden that we've got going on here. So anyway, I wanted to share with you this particular plant. This is Supertunia bubblegum. It is a wave petunia. I believe it might have been from Proven Winners, and I think it definitely self-seeded itself in our lawn in the front. And I thought, oh, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. It was on the edge of the walkway and the grass front lawn. So I pulled it, 2 of them, put one here and the other one over here. And when I tell you it was a strand, it was like that. It was just like that, probably the size of my hand. I plopped it in here, and it made its way through, and look how big it's gotten. And there's Trixie, our dog. Hey, Trix. We've got some beautiful brown-eyed Susans and purple coneflowers and white coneflowers, and we've got some luminescent phlox. These guys have been eaten by our friends, the rabbits, which is fine. I have to come in here and rework this area here. We got a beautiful, this one is I don't know what, I think it's a purple crepe myrtle. And then over here, right next to it, is a dancing, no, it's not a dancing butterfly. It's just a butterfly bush, a buddleia. That's not native. But we have the American beautyberry right there, which is native. But behind it, we also have some sprouts of, you can see them all in here. These are French plum tree, which I have to remove some of them. They're just taking too much of space in here. So gonna have to do something there. I'm wondering what my dog is doing over there. This all here has got some beautiful daylilies. We've got some coreopsis, and see, this is what I'm talking about. I like the pinks. I like the breakup of things color-wise. I just need more. As you can see, the coreopsis just flopped. There were just so many of them, and they flopped, and it looks a little bit crazy. So I have to reassess the space a little bit better. I got some beautiful scarlet red bee balm right in here. As you can see, there's still some of them blooming. I've got some other low growing, lo and behold, buddleia right in here. So I have to rework some of these things. I'm going to try to move one of these buddleias here. This one here is going to stay, but I might have to move this one out of here, move it somewhere else, because now it's walking into the walkway. Let me go through here. Here is another example. This is a beautiful pear tree. It's a peppermint pear tree, which in time, the maturity of this will become like a peppermint. It'll be a white and red flowering tree. So we're hoping that that is still the case, because that's what they sold us on. But I have some coreopsis underneath here. It looks cute now, but then it's like yellow, you know, it's just like, I feel like I need to pull this out and put something else until this tree becomes mature. Once this tree becomes mature, I can't put anything underneath unless I find something like maybe hosta or something, because this tree will become a shaded tree, a tree that will give shade. So you can't put anything underneath there that needs sun, because the tree will be covering it. This is a beautiful plant right here. This is called plumbago. And I love this. I love blue. I love blue in the garden. Look at that against an orange. Isn't that pretty? I think that's such a pretty cool combination, but of course, too much yellow is too much yellow, so that's why you need to bring in other things. So I'm gonna see how this pathway, it's what, about I'm gonna say about 4 feet, maybe? It's supposed to be wide, but see, I have to come over to the side over here, I think. So this needs to be reassessed. This has been here for 4 years now. I purchased this bush 4 years ago because I did this whole space by hand. I ripped all of this. Everything that you're seeing here was ripped by hand for a memory of my father-in-law who passed away. So anyway, over here is the beautiful lantana. Now, we purchased this lantana 20 years ago. We put it against the fence. I don't know if you can see the fence back there, but there's a fence back here. And we planted that, and it's been growing over the years, so I've kept it. It's not native, which is fine. It's okay to have ornamental, non-native, as long as it's not invasive. Now, if it's an invasive plant, now some people have said that lantana is invasive. Like Creeping Jenny can be a little bit too much of a creep. She creeps a little bit too much. It can be a little bit too much. So I would have to, and thank God that I have these rocks, so I'll have to contain this. But back to the lantana over here, I'll have to, you know, I cut that all the way back. There's a border, like you see this rock border here. It just wraps all the way around that way. And just reassessing and cleaning and stuff like that. But now I have a mental visual in my head of how that's going to work. Right here, just so you know, we got a water station we got rabbits and chipmunks, and they'll come and drink water. So I'll have it slowly dripping into the little plate. So it's got, you know, something for them to drink. I don't know. I don't think we have any lakes around here, but it's a great thing for them to have something to drink. Of course, I got to clean that up because they probably put leaves, or the leaves fall on there. So I'll do that after our video here. But I also have to point out this habitat patch. Now, I used to burn when things die, or branches or things like that. Now I don't do that. I just pile them up onto certain spots throughout the garden in the back where nobody can see it, or if they see it, it's, you know, it's a point of reference for people, so that way they can do the same thing. where chipmunks and brown thrashers and even bees can go underneath there and feel protected from predators, and just to kind of have a home throughout the winter, or throughout the whole season, every day. So I leave those out there for them. So now anytime that I have like this tree, beautiful tree, I named this one after my son. This is a crab apple tree. So there are branches that sometimes fall. I'll just throw it over there. What's going on over here? We got some roses, beautiful heirloom Crown Princess Margarita. Now I have had some problems with some roses recently with a disease. It's called rosette disease. It's a mite that burrows itself inside the stems of the roses. Thank God this one is not doing that. But over here we had that happening really nicely. Drift coral bushes. They're beautiful apricot type of roses in here. All of this area in here, next to this abelia. And it was all over here. And sadly, several mites got in all of them, and so they became deformed. When the mites burrow themselves in there, they'll eat in between the stems, inside of the stems. So anyway, long story short, it's called rosette disease, and I had to pull them all out and burn it so that way they don't spread, and it only occurs on roses. That's why roses are one of the most difficult, one of the most beautifulest things, but they're most difficult to maintain and protect, because you've got so many types of diseases and so many pests that love to, they just enjoy them. So with that being said, last year I pulled that and I had to redo this whole space here. So right here is called Beautiful Plant. I don't know if you recall the Boston Tea Party, where King George was trying to tax the United States, and they were taxing the United States for this. This is called New Jersey tea. Yep, this is the one. Isn't that pretty? Yeah. I had a beautiful flower, white little tiny flower. So this has been here for about, I would say, a good year now. It was very small, so it was getting bigger. We got a beautiful white azalea. We've got a, I think this is called, I forgot what that one is called. Can't remember. Anyway, this is a shrubby St. John's wort. Sorry about that. That's a primrose. We got rattlesnake master, gomphrena. Let me go around this way so you can see it this way. All right. Yeah. This is a rattlesnake master. This is native to the United States, and it is a beautiful plant. This is my first year working with it, so I'm hoping to see what it will do. The bees were on it like nobody's business. It's supposed to get really tall, but I don't know if I need to reassess that and push it somewhere else, but that's why I have to come through and check around the garden to see what's going on. So this is another beauty. This is called Common Globe Amaranth, or gomphrena. So I've got a white one here, got a purple one here. Now you can see the rabbits have been eating at this. They just love eating, and that's okay. Sometimes you have to give something to your friends, your creatures in the garden. Beautiful, what is this one here? Magnolia. Beautiful yarrow. This is a beautiful purple or fuchsia gomphrena, or Common Globe Amaranth. We got a blue and black salvia right there behind that, and the hummingbirds are just crazy over that, which is great. Another St. John's wort shrubby bush there. Got some more marigolds and some yarrow, and this beauty right here is it's called the firecracker crepe myrtle. So she's doing really, really well there. We have some beautiful daylilies, not daylilies, it was just prairie lily. This thing was just gorgeous right here. I love it. I hope it'll come back, and I can grab some of the seed pods and have some for next year to sell in the garden, because she was a stunner. And we also have this beautiful, look at this beautiful bee right here on this. Isn't that pretty? This is called Gaillardia, also known as blanket flower. This is a workhorse in the garden. I love this. Now underneath it, in these little white tiny little flowers, is a Virginia button. Now Virginia button is native, but it's a pain in the butt. That's all I gotta say. And we got some beautiful Fire Chief Arborvitae, Soft Touch Holly, which is not native, but it does its, it's like a little hedger type of thing to kind of, to me, it helps me to kind of usher you into the reflecting garden, and I wanted to share it with you. As you can see the overall arch, we've got some clematis, wild native clematis with a smiley rose, beautiful soft yellow. Those are kind of still making their way, but I think they're pretty much, I shouldn't say that, because roses have a mind of their own, especially when the environment allows them to be. They'll keep pushing little small heads of flowers or buds of flowers, but then the coreopsis, not the coreopsis, the clematis will be blooming, I would say another 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. This will be so full of white little tiny flowers. They look like little crosses. A beautiful flower, but I might have to reassess this because this is the third year, the third season, because I've had them in there, because I had them in the back over here, and I'm like, oh, maybe I can put this on the trellis with the roses, because they say that they complement each other very well, which is true. But look how heavy it looks. It's so thick, it's so big. I don't know if I want that. And now it's climbing onto the tree, the crabapple tree behind it, and it's one of those things. All right, over here we've got some beautiful super jazzberry supertunia, and that is one of the plants that I was selling in the nursery, which is a great plant because it just spreads really nicely in clusters. We just had some rain, so a lot of the flowers are closed and some of them are opening now. And then above it is the bee balm. This is spotted horsemint, and this sucker is absolutely gorgeous. I tell you, it's perhaps one of my favorite plants in the entire garden. Now they're starting to, I think they're about to open. I would say another 2 weeks, another week. We had some up in the other area, but I love it. So this bed, I need to keep cleaning around it because you can see some of the grass starts making its way around the rocks and you can barely see it. And I don't want that. I want to make sure you can visually see it in here. So we've got some jazzberry supertunias as well here. And then, yep, they're about to open up. So this is the bee balm, Monarda paniculata, or spotted horsemint. So they're about to put, as you can see, some of that purple coming through. So I would say another week, maybe 2 weeks. This one is a better one, but they're not there yet. This will be like, this is the crown jewel to me, one of the crown jewels in the garden. Beautiful plant. The bees just love it. All right, let me go over here, make my way onto this side of the garden. We just had the grass cut, but that doesn't mean anything. We've had rain, a little bit of rain, which is great because it's so hot here. And we're, like I said, I'm in Stockbridge, Georgia, about 30 minutes south of Atlanta. And caliente. All right, so here's a beautiful pond. I worked this over the winter time as well. I knew that I was going to consider opening the garden and the nursery to the public. So what I ended up doing was, this basin was given to me by my neighbor. So I plopped it in there. I got some plants in there, some lily pads and some papyrus plant. And guess what I have inside there now? Yep, I got some frogs. Cool frogs. And I was worried because there was a lot of mosquitoes. So one of the nurseries that I have visited, I had mentioned, I asked a question and they said you should throw some goldfish. So I went to PetSmart, grabbed some goldfish and threw it in there, and I think there's like about 3 or 4 in there. You can see one popping up underneath that lot. Oh, he just went underneath. But anyway, there's some, they're there eating the larvae of the mosquitoes. So it's an ecosystem working its way through, and those mosquitoes that make it through, we have dragonflies, which I call the guardians of the garden. It's still, well, it's hot out here, so, but usually the sun will bring out the dragonflies, and the dragonflies will start eating the mosquitoes as well. So you've got mosquitoes, larvae eaten by the fish and the frogs. You've got mosquitoes that are the larvae that has now become a mosquito and flying around will be eaten by the dragonflies. And then in the dusk time, you've got your beautiful, amazing bats. And we have bats. Not a lot, maybe like one or two. And they'll come and they'll start eating the mosquitoes as well. So we got a lot of things going. I got a whole ecosystem working in my favor here. But I had to build it, and that's the cool thing too. So if you ever want to do something like this, I highly recommend just start small, one thing at a time, and then you get the bug, and you start building like I did. This was all grass. This whole area, all of this was grass, all the way. We had this tree's been here, but none of this was here. 2 years ago, this is the second year. Yeah, this is the second year where I start planting stuff. Oh, there's a dragonfly. Let me see if he'll pop up. But brown eyed Susans. Anyway, so now what I ended up doing was getting rocks, and I started putting mulch in between the pathways, started making pathways, and I've been putting wildflowers, and I've been putting all types of cosmos, brown eyed Susans, hollyhocks. This is a hollyhock right here. Isn't that pretty? So I got some seed pods, so I'm going to use that for next year, plant those in the garden. We got some blue mistflower, coreopsis, beautiful lilac-y lavender crepe myrtle. And over here are some more coreopsis. So this is what I was saying about curating. I have too much yellow. Like yellow. I think it's okay for certain things, but I don't want to see it everywhere. And the most sad part about this is that when we had our rain, this beautiful plant flopped. So now I ended up putting a string. You can see it here on my finger. So I've been trying to prop them up because they were just so top heavy. I don't want to cut them back because I want them to be food source for the birds in the wintertime. And now, because I've seen the American yellowfinch come through here, and they'll start eating all of this stuff, which is great. All right, so here's some other beautiful. This one here is a goldenrod. So they're not ready to bloom yet. We've got some asters. We've got some beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? This is a sulfur cosmo. We've got some swamp tropical milkweed, not swamp, but tropical milkweed, zinnias. We've got some white, what is that, bone set, blue fork curl. This is what is this thing called? A persimmon, which I have to remove because it's a little bit in the wrong spot. I got some Bermuda grass still growing from when I pulled all the grass from underneath here. So, you're going to have some of that stuff happening. And Cosmo. Look at this. This last week, 2 weeks ago, was so beautiful. Look how purple. This is a purple coneflower. Looks pink and mauvey, but it's pretty much done for the season. This particular one. We had some over here as well. So now what I've been doing is I'll grab some of these seeds, as you see here, and I'll spread it throughout the garden space here. So that way next year they can hopefully self-seed themselves, but I leave as much as I can for the birds to eat as well, which is the most important thing because you want to have a food source. But I try to divide in between. Look at this. Isn't this beautiful? This is a beautiful, I don't know what the name of this particular crepe myrtle, but the color is just fascinating. So this is named after my daughter Gabriella. So this is Princess Ella. And of course these pathways, I have to keep working through here. I've got some plants that have self-seeded themselves, but it's only in this area for some reason. I think the cardboard was just not thick enough. And so it breaks down and, life finds a way to live. We got some hairy asters, which I have to see how this is flopped down. And we got some beautiful blazing star. This is a liatris, that's the scientific name, and it puts a beautiful purple flower. It's like one of those brush things to clean bottles. You know how you have to clean baby bottles, those little brushes? It's like that. It's so fantastically beautiful. This is a beautiful blue mist flower that's about to bloom. Oh, here's a liatris, just to kind of give you an idea what that looks like. Isn't that pretty? I love that one. That's such a beautiful plant. All right, over here we got some black eye Susans. We got some mums. We've got a couple other plants here. These are all beautiful. I think, is it just regular goldenrod? I think this is Canadian goldenrod or just goldenrod. I have an app. It's called iNaturalist. Great app. And I also have one called Picture This. So I go in between both of those and I check certain things where I know a lot of my plants. Some of them I just can't remember. So I'll do that app and pull it up and it'll tell me what it is. Sometimes it gets it wrong, but for the most part it's on cue and on point. This right here is perhaps one of the most amazing and important plants in my garden. This is called the milkweed. Now, this is the plant along with the tropical milkweed and also the swamp milkweed and the common milkweed. So there's a couple of them, which is great. But this one is just a butterfly milkweed and it's a beautiful orange flower. And this is pretty much done. So this pod will open up and it'll have seeds. So I'm gonna put those throughout the garden. But it is the plant, the only hosting plant for the monarch butterfly. Yep, the monarch butterfly that comes through here in the summertime, late summer, early fall, and they start laying their eggs and then they keep going down to Mexico. And that's what we want. We want more of this. So that way they have a spot, a place to continue their lineage, I guess, their species. We don't have a lot of those anymore. A lot of the stuff that we're seeing in these developments and knocking, and maybe also you probably see those data centers that people are talking about. You know, they're knocking things down, but not putting things back in or putting things on the surrounding areas of these places. You know, we do need habitat. We need to live as well, but they also need to live, and they need places to eat, food to eat. They need places to live. So if you can find ways in your home, in your yard, even if it's a small thing, like let's say if it's something like this, a circular thing, throw some plants in here. You got some rocks. It doesn't have to be these types of rocks. You can get some pavers from Home Depot or Lowe's or any of your nurseries in your area and support them, and put a little spot in your backyard, somewhere in the corner, somewhere in the back, and start throwing some plants, native plants, things that host plants, that host bees and host moths and host butterflies and stuff like that, and you'll do such a great thing for our friends, because they need it. Really quickly, this is an elderberry, beautiful medicinal plant. Right here we have a native hibiscus. So she's about to put a flower soon, and I can't wait to see, because I got this from the Georgia Native Society earlier this spring, and I was happy to get that, and I have that in there among other plants that I've gotten from them. So if you're in Georgia, I would highly recommend them to look in if you want to learn more about native planting, how you can help to support our native creatures here. There's so many of them. There's so many wonderful birds, and I've seen just in our backyard, only in our backyard, I've seen about 17, 18 types of different birds. And I use the app called Merlin, MERLIN, and they has a great app, and it listens to the sounds of the birds, and it'll tell you what kind of bird it is that's making that sound. And I've marked them down, like, oh my gosh, I never heard of that. Sometimes you can see them, sometimes you can't, but you can hear them. And I was like, oh, I never heard that sound before. So they're obviously working their way through and finding food, and I'm providing food for them by having host plants with the caterpillars. The butterflies and the moths are laying their eggs, and then once those eggs hatch, they become caterpillars and they become food for baby birds. And a bird by itself probably eats, in its life cycle before they become adults, is over 1,000 caterpillars. Where are they gonna find that? Where are they gonna eat? Where are they gonna get those caterpillars? So if we can help them by planting host plants, you're doing a great service for our friends. All right, guys, I think I yapped a lot. And I'll, yeah, I've done some assessment in the yard, so I'm kind of happy about that. And I'll rethink a couple of things. And, but I wanted to share that with you all. So it was great to see you all. And I appreciate your support over the year in my nursery. I want to show you this beautiful golf. This is a golf. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm trying to go really slow because they don't like to be recorded. So we've got a couple of butterflies making their way through. Anyway, all right, guys, I'm gonna let you all go. Thank you so much again. Appreciate you. Stay hydrated if you're out in the garden assessing things, and stay cool because you're awesome. Thank you for all you're doing, and thank you for your support, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.